What if you could build a pretty good physique without no drugs, with no supplements, not spending wasted hours in the gym, and without constantly getting injured? So today I'm going to show you how I train one muscle group per week, what the structure looks like, and why combining calisthenics and weight training together has been the best decision I've made for my body. So if you feel stuck right now and not progressing, getting injured and thinking, why am I even training? Then hold up, because I've got some good stuff to tell you. I used to do calisthenics for about 4 years, and it wasn't the best experience because of my approach to it. So I never really progressed in it. I've done weight training for 8 years, and I only started combining the two this year in January. And honestly, for most of those years, I was really extreme about keeping them separate. Like, no, I can't train weights. I can't mix in calisthenics, or the other way around. I had this way of thinking that it had to be one way or the other. I did eventually stick to just weightlifting, but that led me down the wrong path. I made great gains from it, but it left me injured. But here's what I've noticed ever since I started adding in these calisthenics movements from January. My back got a lot more defined, even though I'm not as lean as I could be. I'm noticing more striations in the lower back, and I think that's from all like the weighted pull-ups and the bodyweight pull-ups I've been doing. Plus it gives me a new goal to work towards, and I'm noticing a lot of strength progression, not just with these exercises, but it also connects to the bodybuilding type movements, and it improves those too. So I stalled with my lifts. I was getting injured a lot, and that's why I started to combine the two while training one muscle per week, and I've noticed really big improvements since. Now let me give you a bit more context because I think it helps. For years, I was training push-pull legs Monday through Saturday, hitting each muscle group twice a week. Now, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you program it right, but I was doing around 20 sets or more per workout, spending up to 4 hours in the gym, 6 days per week. Looking back, my body was always in some state of fatigue and I didn't even realize it. Then I got a coach and we moved into what people call science-based training. And look, maybe there's good evidence on this for some people, but from my experience, it left me with a lot more injuries. And when I think about why, I think it's because our muscles are designed to work as a whole. When you start breaking everything down into these highly isolated movements, you're taking the body away from the way God designed it and the way it's designed to move. So I would say keep the majority of your training built around basic compound movements where the body works together. Now, I've recently moved to training one muscle group per week. This is something I'm still experimenting with, but so far it's been really great. I have so much more time to recover, and I don't just mean the muscle, I mean tendons, joints, ligaments, and the central nervous system, which is all important. And I've noticed strength going up very well since making this change. Think about this for a moment. We were never designed or meant to lift weights the way we do today to build all this muscle. What we're really doing is going against what the body naturally wants to do, because the body is in a survival state. It wants to hold on to whatever it can. So if I stop eating or I'm not eating enough, my fat stores will start to go first. That's the body's first fuel source once it runs out of glycogen, which is just the quick access energy stored in your muscles and liver. Once that's gone, it switches to fat. Fat is the preferred fuel because the body knows muscle is valuable and wants to hold on onto it as long as it can. Studies have actually confirmed this. The body treats muscle as a structural asset, not a primary energy source, and it works to protect it. One piece of research found that adding resistance training to a calorie-restricted diet prevented 93.5% of the muscle loss that happens from dieting alone. So the body wants to keep most of the muscle, especially when you stimulate it. If you stop training and you stop eating enough, the body starts to break down the muscle eventually. It does this through a process where it converts muscle protein into glucose for the organs that need it to survive. That's the survival mechanism working. Your muscles start to go when the body has no other choice and no signal telling it to keep them. So as long as you are stimulating the muscles, progressing each week, eating enough and eating good foods and resting well, it really is that simple. You don't need to hit each muscle group 2 or 3 times a week to hold on to it or build it. What you need is to get stronger over time. So why do more work if you could do less and still get stronger, right? Let that sink in. Now, here's the other thing most people don't think about. Muscles will recover much faster than tendons and joints. Studies confirm this. Tendons have a limited blood supply, which means they remodel and strengthen at a slower rate than muscle tissue. And if your tendons and joints don't work, the body starts to break down in a way where you simply can't train the muscles. So the most important thing you could do is protect the joints and the tendons. And that's exactly what training one muscle group per week allows you to do. So here's the structure. You're going to arrange your week around the muscle groups you want to hit. So chest on Monday, back on Tuesday, rest day, and so on and so on. Now, you can play around with this each week, and that's the good thing about it. If you feel sore in the shoulders from chest day, you can move shoulder day further back in the week and put a leg day or something else earlier. Just give those joints more time. Keep in mind that each muscle group is going to come back around again in about a week anyway, so you just need to play with it and see what fits you. Now, for each session, you want to start with what I'd call a high achievement movement. Something you really want to get good at, a goal movement that you really look forward to. For me, on chest day, that's weighted ring dips. It's something I want to get really strong at, and just knowing that's the first thing I'm doing gives me that good dopamine spike for the rest of the session. So that's what we're going to prioritize for that first movement. After that, we move into more bodybuilding type exercises with higher reps, more focused on contracting and stretching the muscle, less worrying about the load. This is the hypertrophy work. Then to finish it, I'll do some mobility type movements, things that make sure the tendons and joints are also getting stronger and more flexible over time. Now, keep in mind, less sets, more effort. Start tracking your lifts too. Write them down, because 1 rep added each week makes a big difference over time. That's the compounding principle. Now, before I get into the actual session, I started my workout today with rolling. I rolled my back, my lats, and my triceps. I do this for every session. On back day, I'll also roll out my biceps based on what I'm training that day. All right, the idea is simple. I'm getting more blood moving into the tissue, breaking up any stiffness that's been sitting in there from the previous week, and just letting the body know it's about to be used. If you hit a spot that's tight, just sit on it for a few seconds and breathe. You're not trying to destroy anything, just loosen it up. A minute or 2 per area is completely enough. Then into the warm-up. And here's something I think is really important. I don't do heavy static stretching before I train, where you hold a stretch for 30 seconds or longer. That actually relaxes the muscle, and a relaxed muscle going under heavy load is more prone to getting hurt, not less. What I focus on before training is dynamic movement. So like arm circles, shoulder rotations, controlled scapular movements, maybe a few easy bodyweight reps of the main movement just to get the joints warm, or any band work, just getting the blood moving. Okay, so today's session is chest day, and my primary movement right now for every chest session is ring dips. This is the movement I want to get really strong at, and I really believe it builds one of the best chests you can build. The rings force you to stabilize through the whole movement in a way a fixed bar just doesn't, and every muscle around the chest, the shoulder, and the tricep is working together. I started with just body weight, a few easy reps, not counted as sets, just feeling it out. Then I added 10 kilos for a few reps. I'm just using my adjustable rope as a belt, which I probably need to invest in a good quality belt, but it works for now, and that's all I have. So, but it works. It's also a beautiful day today, as you can see. I love training right beside the window, getting the sun in. But now I can see I'm going a little faster on the reps, so on the next one I have to really slow it down. But sometimes this happens because we want to rush into the weight increases, but this is where you want to gauge how it feels so you know how much to add on your next. I ended up doing 20 kilos next, then I jumped to 30 kilos. As you could see, at this point, I'm getting close, but I'm not burning myself out. I've got more to give and I want to save it for the rest of the top set, for that top set. Now, on the movement itself, I want to feel the stretch through the chest and let the muscles do the work. On the way up, I explode. So 2 weeks ago, I did 35 kilos for 3 reps on my top set. Today, I did a single with 35 kilos just to feel the weight at first, and it felt good. So I went for 40 kilos. Let's see what I get. Got 2 reps. That's a 5 kilo jump on a top set in 2 weeks. That's real progression. And as you noticed, I didn't just finish at the top. I came down slowly at the end. Don't just finish a movement at the top. Let the eccentric take place. If you already got the weight up, eccentrics are proven to build more mass. After that, I dropped the weight and moved into the hypertrophy ranges. 30 kilos for 6 reps. Still on the strength side of things, but it's still enough for stimulating growth. And I'm making sure, again, I am going slower and finishing with the eccentric. Nice. Then I dropped down again to 25 kilos so I could aim for 8 to 12 reps. Now the focus shifts to time under tension, feeling the muscle work and getting a good stretch and a good contraction. So I got 8 reps for this set. Perfect. I went up by 1 rep last week with this weight, and that's what matters. So I only did 3 total sets for ring dips today. Then I moved on to straight bar dips with 30 kilos on the belt. I did 2 sets here. This is my second set you're watching right now. So I'm focusing on higher reps, less concerned about load and more focused on actually contracting the chest and stretching it properly. I went up by 1 rep on each set compared to last week. That's the compounding principle in action. So 1 rep this week, 1 rep next week, month after month, you can see how that would add up. Okay, so now my third exercise that I'm jumping into, I'm focusing a little more on the bodybuilding type of exercises, and I'm going to be doing some chest machine press. So I really want to make sure that my back is contracted, and I'm going slow on the eccentric, as you can see, and then explode on the concentric movement. And like I said, this is going to be the most important part of the exercise. This is my second set that I've filmed, and I'm going for that extra rep, for that extra stimulus and for that extra growth. So I think I got around 13 reps on this, and that's great. So next week I might go for 14 reps, and then eventually I can up the weight and then start back at maybe around 6 to 8 reps, and then go from there and then build that up, right? Keep building it up and keep building it up. That's how you want to go. So it's the compounding principle. My last exercise, I didn't get to actually film. My camera was running out. So what I actually ended up doing was what I call a seated cuff cable chest fly. So I have the cuff sitting on my elbows, and I did 2 sets on this last one, but honestly, I could have gotten away with just 1 set. But that's a total of 9 sets for the week for chest. So I don't have to hit it till next week. And this is the best thing, and I'm loving it so far. So now 9 sets compared to 20 plus sets per week that I used to do. The difference, I'm tracking, I'm getting stronger, I'm doing less, but more effort in each set. Now, at the end of every session, stretch. Yes, and now you can go even deeper. Why? Because the muscles are warm, the tissue is full of blood, and this is the best window you have to work on range of motion. A tight muscle is a weaker muscle, and tightness, that builds up over weeks and months is where injuries come from. So you don't want to skip it. Now, the programming I use is something that my girl and myself have designed together. It's not an app, but we built it ourselves so we can change whatever we need at any time or any point. The way it works is it sets me a rep target for each session on each exercise on each set based on what I did the week before. So if I got 7 reps with 25 kilos last week, then it's telling me to do 8 this week with that same weight. And what I've noticed is when you have a specific number in your mind, you're most likely going to hit it because you're not sitting there thinking about last week. You just see the number and you go for it. I've been using this for a couple years now and I've never used anything else. So I'm working on getting this out to you guys, so don't go anywhere. I want to say something about the way you approach this. And this is important to me. Right? Be humble with your training, not in a way where you underestimate yourself, but humble in the sense that you're not doing this to impress people in the gym. If your focus is on showing off, your focus is split. Half of you is training and half of you is performing. And that will cost you in your progress, in your technique, and eventually in injuries. The people you think are watching aren't watching. And even if they are, or even if they were, they don't care. That's why I train with a shirt most times. So train for yourself, train for the people who you love, and be grateful for the body that God gave you and you to do this with. So unfortunately, I am showing my body on camera, but if I don't show you the results, you wouldn't believe me. So from now on, I won't be showing as much of my body, but more of the progress that I'm making and the education behind why this method works. So it's going to be an ongoing experiment for me and for you to also watch and stay along. Now, you're going to have some setbacks, fewer reps, heavier weight that feels heavier than it should. And sometimes it's sleep, sometimes it's food, sometimes it's just the day. But that's not a reason to give up, right? Get the session done, recover through the week, and go again. If life was always going up, you'd never know what a really great session felt like, or what life would actually feel like in a great day. So we need those bad days sometimes. We need those bad sessions, and it's okay. Now, in the King James Bible, James 2 verse 26 says, "For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also." So you can have all the vision in the world, right, for what you want to achieve. But if you're not showing up week after week and doing the work, that vision stays exactly where it is. So visualize it, have faith, remove the doubt, and take action towards the vision, and God will guide the rest. I just got home after my chest session and I'm feeling great. About to eat this wonderful meal that my sweet, loving girl has made for me. I usually make this meal for myself, but lately I've been working extra days with my brother with his business. So I'm very grateful for her and for this food. If you can find someone or find yourself a girl that is willing to support you in so much of what you do, stay with that one. I can honestly say I love her with all my heart, and I'm not afraid to say that because God has given us the love to share. Thought I'd say that. Anyway, I thank God for leading me on this path so I can help people like you to also progress in life. So hopefully this video has opened your eyes, and if you need any help, just reach out to me in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. God bless and have a beautiful day.